So I have been obsessing and binging everything I can find about this Kiely Rodni case. She is the missing 16-year-old out of California who went to a graduation party and she's missing since late Friday night, early into Saturday morning, Friday, August 5th into August 6th. So the more I'm finding out, and I'm going to put all of this on the screen, wherever it is, near me, so you can see the actual links or names of videos that I'm referencing. I'm finding out more and more about this case. It makes me believe more and more that Kiely very well could have been abducted. Her friends are speaking out more, and the more they talk, the more we're learning about this sin at the sanctuary. That's what I'm calling it. The sanctuary is the area of that Prosser family campground where she attended the farewell graduation party. I got an eerie feeling, almost like I could hear Keith Morrison's voice introducing this story on Dateline one day. You know, sin at the sanctuary. Because Kiely's friends are admitting there were a lot more people there than we initially expected. We were told there were only about 100 people, but now through the news we are learning there were more people, maybe 200 to 300 people. Her friends are talking about older guys that were there. Her friends are saying how scary it was and just how aggressive and pressuring some of these guys were, trying to get, one of the friends to do bong hits. We will go over all of this. According to the Find Kiely Instagram account, there's an area the cops were saying to stay away from. I'm not sure if this is because they found something related to Kiely or not. There's chatter about whether or not a tank top was found. Was it a black tank top? Was it Kiely's tank top or just some random tank top? So let's cover that. Let's cover everything. Everything her mom is saying. Her mom called herself a bad mom. Your heart breaks for this woman. Let's talk a little bit about Kiely's dad. Let's talk a little bit about Kiely's friends and all the backlash they're getting. It's horrible. But I want people to keep talking, and let's talk about what parents can do and what everyone who attended the party can do. So you'll see an ABC 10 news report saying how Kiely's still missing out of Truckee. Kiely's friend, Sammy Smith, gave a bunch of interviews. Different ones only include certain pieces, so I just watched dozens of them so I could get as much info as possible. That's where we learned there were up to 300 people at this party, and Sammy is speaking out more. She was at the party. She's desperate to do anything to bring Kiely home. She's going to talk a little bit about Kiely's state of mind. Now, previously we covered how Sammy said Kiely was not in the right mindset or state to drive home. But that's not clear. She never, that I can find, said Kiely was drunk or Kiely was high. And it's kind of hard when people, they don't want to say too much and they're being coy and playing around with words. A lot of people might assume what she meant. And later Sammy's going to say, oh, she didn't seem like anything was wrong or out of the ordinary. So we have to try and interpret what she's trying to say. A lot of people are giving her backlash, unfortunately, like, oh, you should have stayed with her. You never leave your friend. But I don't think anyone deserves bashing. Not the parents, not the friends, not the victim, no one. I think the central goal should just be, no matter what, get all the facts out just to help find Kiely. So that's when Sammy said she went to the party Friday night. Now, Kiely's mom, Lindsay, said that Kiely had asked to extend her curfew. So we're going to learn that Kiely, she left home around 9 p.m. or so, as I understand it, to go to this party. She wanted to extend her curfew. Normally she should have been home by around 11 o'clock, but she asked her mom could she stay out a little bit later, I guess until 12:30. This conflicts with other reports we've heard where it claims it was the plan for Kiely to just spend the night at that campground. And as I understand it, as I'm reading, because I thought, well, if she was going to spend the night, did she bring a sleeping bag? Did she bring a tent? I'm thinking camping. But apparently from what I'm reading from locals, the type of spending the night kids do out there is just to leave their cars running as much as they can, play music, charge their phone, turn their cars off, and just sleep in their cars or sleep wherever they can. I don't know if that was Kiely's plan, then things went wrong and she left, or if, like her mom says, be home by 11. Now, her mom had gone out as well. So I don't know if the plan was, it says her mom, Lindsay, said she'd be home by 12:30. Lindsay just said, okay, like we normally do. Kiely, just, wake me up when you get in. That's when Lindsay called herself a bad mom. It was sad because she, obviously had fallen asleep. She did not know that Kiely wasn't home until the next morning when she woke up, and those are crucial hours, but no one can blame themselves. Kiely's phone is turned off. As of this recording on Tuesday, August 9th, they have not found her car. The Placer County Sheriff's Office did say there is a presser coming today at 2 p.m. local time, so we should perhaps learn more about anything they've found. Her mom just called it scary when you don't know what's happened to your child. And her mom just bragged about how smart Kiely is, how she graduated from high school at 16 with high honors. She's so intelligent, beautiful, and a wonderful person. KCRA News says, here's what we know about the case. We see Kiely's friend Sammy acting as the lead on a lot of these searches. She was asking someone, are you willing to go to Reno? And someone in the crowd said yes. Kiely's last words to her mom were, okay, I love you. That's the last time I heard from her. Her mom said, boy, I'm just praying for strength. It's an open area near the Prosser family campground, apparently called the Sanctuary. Looks like a little open clearing. Apparently it's a common place for parties. This time things went wrong. They are saying there were tons of other high school kids there, college kids, all the way to the Bay Area and Nevada. So the number of people in attendance just keeps growing. At first we thought, oh, there were only 100 people there. Now we hear there were up to 300 people there. What Sammy is going to say about older guys, it getting scary, it makes you really think, yeah, this could really have been an abduction, and perhaps not Kiely driving off a cliff or a road or something. With social media, things can spread like wildfire, like the news of a party. If there was this farewell party happening, just really expecting local kids to be there, maybe 100 or so kids, seniors, people who knew each other. Maybe that's why Kiely felt comfortable and her mom felt comfortable saying, okay, go down there, half an hour or so away, and they didn't know potentially all these other people. If the party were posted anywhere or news were posted in group chats or what have you, it could spread more than they expected. This is claiming that people from the Bay Area were there. So that shocked me because I looked at the Bay Area. You see Reno, which is pretty close to the east. You see the Prosser Family Campground, which isn't too far. You see Lost Trail Lodge to the west of it, which is where I believe Kiely meant to go that night to get home. Quite a few miles away, you see Sacramento, and then you see the Bay Area, and then you see San Francisco. Now, I used to live near San Francisco, about an hour north. So I'm not sure what is considered the Bay Area. When I hear the Bay Area, I'm thinking San Francisco and those surrounding areas. I'm not sure if that's what they meant. That would be quite a haul for someone to drive 2-3 more hours away just to go to some high school party. But unfortunately, and of course it's not always the big bad boogeyman from the big city, but in case it is, there could have been people with nefarious intentions, someone bored on a Friday night. Maybe they didn't live in San Francisco or the city as they call it. Maybe they lived in Sacramento, Sacktown, or maybe they lived a little bit closer east. They might have been bored. They saw, oh, kids are going to the sanctuary. Ooh, high school girls will be there. Let me trot on down. So it could be that. Sammy wants to know, how could no one have seen her leave? So I'm not sure how it looks if cars are parked on either side. Do cars have to drive down a middle where most people would witness Kiely driving off? But I do wonder too, how no one saw her leave if there's like 300 people there. Maybe someone did. But the problem is that we will see a lot of people aren't talking. A lot of people are not sending in photos to the sheriff's office. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's so sad. And I understand it why people are so fearful of cops. Maybe someone does have some info, but they won't pass it along because they're afraid of what they were doing at the time. They might be afraid that cops are going to bust them or interrogate them or think they're involved when they're not. To me, that's sad. People are letting that that fear keep them away from what they might know. I mean, I did a search. We know the Snapchats are gone. That's one thing I hate about snaps. Those would have been gone after 24 hours. So if people were posting stuff Friday night and they didn't get screenshots, that's all gone usually by Saturday, unless they were sending streaks or inboxing each other. And then Instagram stories, you can check the archives. That's a great tip I just got from True Crime Sisters Facebook group about this case. Go to your kid's phone. They can go to their own phone. Check the archive in Instagram. Check stories. See what is left in there. You never know what you might see in the background of a photo. But I did search the geotag on Instagram, and I could not find any Prosser family campground photos at all from Friday, which is weird, or even Saturday. The most recent was like July something, so people might not have used that. I even tried to check the sanctuary, and there's a whole ton listed. I couldn't find any related to that place, but there's got to be some photos. Like, kids always have their phone in their hands, a lot of them are always taking selfies, and if it's not an Instagram reel, most of them aren't on Facebook. They could be on TikTok. They might have posted a Facebook reel, Snapchat something. Kylie's mom said her head is all over the place. She's terrified, and she's trying to hold out hope. So again, they say not a lot of people have come forward, and there is a tip line. On ABC 10, they go into the fact that Placer County detectives are treating the disappearance of Kiely Rodni as an abduction, and Fox 40 News is also covering it. On Fox 40 News, we got a little bit more exact timelines. On Fox 40 News, we see two of Kylie's friends. So one of them has kind of stayed in the background. Sammy has been more in the foreground. Sammy told Fox 40 News that Kylie's call was approximately 12:36 a.m. in the morning. Sammy saw a call from Kiely, and that's when Kiely had called Sammy. Sammy was already on her way home from the party. So you'll see Sammy was initially supposed to get a ride home from Kiely, but somehow Sammy saw that Kiely, I don't want to put words in her mouth. The way I interpret it is she was in a bad way. I don't know if she was drunk. I don't know if she was high. I don't know if she was alone. Sammy saw a call from Kiely. She was on her way home from the party. She was supposed to get a ride home. And that's when Sammy had told Kiely, I already got a ride home. I already told you that. I didn't need a ride home. When Sammy had answered Kylie's call, Kiely said to her, hey, where are you? Like, do you still need a ride home? And that's when Sammy said, I was like, no, I already told you this. Like, we're all good, like I'm in the car, like thank you so much. And after that, nobody has had any contact. They have not seen any sighting of Kiely since. She's been completely radio silence, she said. Her phone has been off. So that's the part where people are giving Sammy a hard time. We don't know when Kiely called Sammy. Was Kiely alone? Had Kiely been searching for Sammy? Sammy did say that she was hanging out mostly with Kiely at the party, and it sounds like there were times they would separate, but they would meet back somewhere in some area. So I don't know when Sammy saw her the last time. What was her state of mind? It sounds like, I don't know if people are inferring this or if they've seen it come out of Sammy's mouth. Sammy didn't want to get a ride home from Kiely, maybe because she was too not in her right state of mind. What's not being said, did someone meet up with someone else? Or if Sammy's saying it was scary and she was ready to get out of there, was Kiely ready to leave? But obviously, Kiely must not have known Sammy had already left, because Kiely was calling Sammy around 12:36 a.m. like, hey, do you still need a ride? But Sammy did say Kiely is familiar with these roads. She's lived here nearly all her life, and we'll take a look at a little article written about her when she was 12. She knows the roads. She knows how to get home. People are speculating, did she not take 80 home? Did she take some back roads? Some back roads route she knew, which might not have been good in terms of lack of cameras. We don't know. She knows the area like the back of her hand. They have people going everywhere, even down to San Francisco. She could be anywhere in the country at this point, which is scary. That's what Sammy said. People are describing Kiely as a bold and outgoing girl. She's down to do anything. If you asked her to go cliff jumping, she'd say, yeah, She's down to do whatever. Always smiling, great laugh, really pretty smile, her friends are saying. So she sounds adventurous. So we see why, as a free spirit, she would want to go to her farewell graduation party. I know she was like homeschooled. I read a little bit about the type of school she went to and how it maybe, met the conditions of a California graduation and how she was able to get out of school early. They're doing everything they can to try and find her and spreading info. And I wonder too if Sammy doesn't feel it's Monday morning quarterbacking, a little bit of guilt for not insisting Kiely come with her or whatever. And we can't do that kind of stuff to ourselves because we've all been in positions most likely that we shouldn't have been in, and by the grace of God, we got out of them. Sammy's saying, look, I'm going to be here even if I have to leave at some point. Sammy wants to see this search through until she finds her friend. Sammy and another friend, when they realized Kiely hadn't made it home, now this must not have been until early Saturday morning, because Kiely's mom did not even realize she hadn't made it home until around 8 a.m. or so Saturday morning. So Sammy and whatever friends went back down to look for her at the campground. It must not have happened until hours and hours later. We've got another report from Fox 40 News where they're just talking about Kiely's strong and very, very bold personality. She'll tell you off if she wants to, which is good, and she's a fighter. But it kind of scared me too, because I'm thinking, okay, if she's telling some guy off, if there was a guy, let's say, who was bothering her, and this is just my speculation and conjecture, if someone was bothering her, was she a bold fighter fighting back, and did that piss some guy off? This is the video where Kiely's mom spoke about her curfew is usually at 11, but she asked to stay out that night until 12:30. So that lets me know that Kiely was not planning on spending the night, unless, and this is another thing, Kiely might have told her mom, can I just stay out later? And Kylie's plan could have been, well, I'll just keep asking my mom, can I stay later and later? And did Kiely tell her friend something different? I'm really going to spend the night. So where did this plans to spend the night there come from, where her mom is talking about her curfews usually at 11? She asked to stay out till 12:30. So that's what I mean about these conflicting reports, which happens. That is real life. So her mom said she was planning to leave at 12:15 a.m. Saturday morning, leave the party. And she just said, okay, just wake me up when you get home. So that means if Kiely had really left the party at 12:15 a.m., and if she's, calling Sammy around 12:30, because I wonder if Kiely was looking for Sammy from about 12:15 to 12:36 a.m. And if that's why Kiely was calling Sammy like, hey, do you still need a ride? And Sammy's like, no, I'm already gone, I told you. If Sammy had already told Kiely, look, I'm leaving, and did Kiely, what state of mind was she in that she forgot? So by 12:36 a.m., she's still calling Sammy, hey, do you still need a ride? And then Sammy's like, no, I already told you. So maybe that's what she means by her state of mind. What was that state of mind where she couldn't even remember what Sammy had just told her? Let's say if it's about 12:36 a.m., when she's actually trying to leave, she would have made it home maybe by 1:30 a.m. or earlier. I don't know how fast you can go on those roads. I don't know what route she took, but it gives us a tighter timeline here. But her phone apparently was off from what I'm reading. Kiely apparently was sharing her location with her mom, so I'm not sure if she was just doing the, iPhone share your location thing. I don't know what model, what iOS version, all that. Kiely was sharing her location with her mom. It stopped in that Prosser family campground area. From what I understand, her phone was then turned off. So I'm not sure if Kiely turned it off herself to charge it or just someone else turned it off. Was the phone destroyed? I don't think they've gotten pings anywhere on her phone as a direction so they can figure out what happened to her. I know her mom's beating herself up. She said, I'm a bad mom, Unfortunately, it's like her mom wasn't awake at wait a minute, it's 2 a.m. She's not home yet. Hindsight is 2020. Of course, we see all the steps, all the decisions, all the events that went wrong to endanger Kiely even more. The victim continuum that Mike King from Profiling Evil speaks about, how certain circumstances can take a relatively safe person into a dangerous space. So Kiely, being at home at 16, probably really safe, but the decision to go to the party at 9. Allegedly, she went to this party with this other girl I'm going to show you guys. So I don't know if she picked her friend up first. It's not clear who was actually riding in the car with Kiely. If her friend went with her, or do they mean we just met up together? That's one thing that's not clear. But going there and then beyond their control, many more people there than expected. You know, it's a big thing to just hang out with your high school friends as opposed to, whoa, all these college guys are here. You know, were there guys even older than college there? People from way farther surrounding area than you expected, you know, 100 versus 300. Then Kiely, not in her right state of mind, whatever that means. Guys forcefully trying to get her friend to do bong hits with her friend's boyfriend not there, as we'll talk about, you know, aggressiveness. Also, Kiely extending her curfew from 11 p.m. to 12:30. Kiely walking around looking for her friend. You know, all of these things made it more dangerous as the night went on. Her mom obviously falling asleep and not hearing from her and not being able to discover that Kiely wasn't home until 8 a.m. But that's when she did head straight to law enforcement. She woke up and she realized her daughter never made it home. She started to call all Kiely's friends. So all of the friends probably started getting phone calls around 8 a.m. And Lindsay headed straight to law enforcement. And that's when Kiely's friends even went back to the campgrounds. Sammy and her friends said, look, we drove all over to the places she might have parked. Maybe they thought she just slept in her car. Somebody must know something. Even Sammy said she started getting an eerie feeling, probably because, you know, all those people were there unexpectedly and she just felt something was wrong. Oh, her mom's videos, one of them she just says, please bring me my baby back. And she says she's sorry. You know, obviously her mom feels enough guilt on her own, and I'm glad her mom is staying off social media because some people can just be cruel and harsh. No one wanted this to happen. Who can't recall, I'll just say, the way I acted in high school or college? It's a blessing to be alive. There's this CBS Sacramento report. This is where we get the 8 a.m. timeline from, where Lindsay Newman is saying, you know, she told me she was leaving the party. You know, they had the discussion about the curfew, making it later. She told her she was leaving, I should say around 12:30. But that's when she goes, I'm a terrible mother. And she kind of laughed, but she's saying, I'm a terrible mother because she slept. You know, she fell asleep. She was at some other event, so her mom came home and she was probably tired. They had, as I understand it, been texting. Her mom had been texting her daughter photos of the event where she was attending, but she called herself a terrible mother. I slept. I said, wake me up when you come home. But unfortunately, she didn't wake up until 8 a.m. She hadn't woke me up, and she's so responsible. So it's just like this perfect storm of errors. But she says, look, she knows Kiely always checks in. She always texts her. She stays in contact with her mom. She lets her know. She checks in multiple times at night, even when she's with friends and her mom's beating herself up. So her mom probably felt comfortable, like Kiely is the kind that checks in. She's not the kind that'll, whoops, I spent the night over my friend's house and didn't let you know all night, which lets you know Kylie's not usually this irresponsible girl running around not telling her mom where she is. Fox 40 News did another video. They said, fortunately, because of some drug use and whatever happening at the party, not a lot of people are passing on much info. So people are urging parents, I mean, if you have to, you know, I'm not one for snooping, but this is urgent. If you can get your kids to speak out about what happened at the party, or if you see stuff on a phone, like Whitney Sitch just posted in the True Crime Sisters Facebook group. I thought it was a great notion. If you notice a change in behavior, you know, from your child, if they attended the party and something's changed, I was thinking to myself, okay, yeah, it could be a change in behavior because maybe people feel guilty. It could be a change in behavior because people know what really happened and they're holding it inside. And you know, when you're holding something inside, some people, they make themselves sick. You know when something's going on. Everyone's praying for her safe return home. Her mom has a combination of fear and disbelief. Her mom apparently was at the hot August nights in Reno when Kiely went off to that senior farewell party just off of 89. So she's talked quite a bit to a different few news organizations about changing, allowing Kiely that curfew extension she wanted. This report is saying word got out about the party. Beyond the Truckee Tahoe region, word got out to Grass Valley, Reno, and the Bay Area. It grew way, way larger than expected. This is where her friend, close friend, I believe her best friend, Magdalene Larson, and I think this might be Mags, the same girl they're talking about, which is her best friend. She said, within only 10 minutes that she was there, she literally had a group of 5 guys trying to, forcefully come get her to take as many bong rips as she could, forcefully without her boyfriend present. So that sounds like just a bad spirit, just a bad state. Sounds like one of those parties that you try to avoid, because when substances are involved, just bad spirits are involved. As women, we know, or men know, a lot of people know how forcefully some people can be, and they just start touching you without permission, or it just sounds like a bad event. And that's when Sammy said, yeah, a lot of guys, she was getting a feeling, something just didn't feel right. Sammy said something just didn't feel right. She said the amount of people that were there and how old they were. Sammy said it was scary. So I wonder if Sammy saw Kiely and was like, come on, let's go home, but Kiely didn't want to leave yet. That's the part that we don't know. This sounds like a local high school farewell party gone wrong. Too many people found out about it and turned it into this like rager. It sounded like too much. Nobody says that they saw Kiely. CBS Sacramento put out another report. Rodney's grandfather's trailer turned into more of a makeshift command center in the search for his granddaughter. And again, Lindsay just says, I just want my daughter home. I just want to give her a hug. I just want to know where she is. I want to know what happened. I just want to know what happened. An FBI victim specialist was there, one of many law enforcement officers speaking with the family. And Sammy Smith provided a photo of just one scene that night. So it's kind of maybe lit up by a car's headlights, and you just see kids standing around. You just see a portion of what it was like at the Friday night party. The fact that it's hundreds of underage kids, I don't know what their curfew was or what their local laws are, but a lot of kids are probably like, oh, I was out past curfew, I was out doing this or that, breaking laws, I better not say anything, is probably what they're thinking. Sheriff's Department is indicating they are not getting photos. So I hope people are just going through any photos they have and just really scouring them, looking in the background. If they see anything odd, I hope they get the nerve, the gumption, the bravery to turn it over and not worry about the consequences. At least they'd be doing the right thing by Kiely. Apparently the CHP at this point has not issued an Amber Alert. I thought I heard a local one had been issued, but from what I'm reading now, I guess there wasn't. They don't know if her car left the area. I mean, it's somewhere, they haven't found it yet, but if they had more details, they can expand the search in that direction. The family feels like they're a little bit stuck as to where to go. That findkiely.com website, you can go there, get info, print flyers, find phone numbers. You can even, I saw, submit anonymous tips there. Again, CBS Los Angeles is reporting it. They are replaying that part where Sammy said, I know Kiely was not in the right mindset or state to drive, and if she were to have driven, she wouldn't have made it home. She's concerned someone took her, but she's not expounding on what was actually happening, and maybe police have told her not to. I don't know. NBC News is even covering it. That's where Sammy told them, Kiely and I are meeting up right here a lot. Maybe her and Kiely were going off away, with different friends, coming back, meeting in that same area, just like a check-in. But Kiely's mom said bad thoughts are very hard to keep at bay. KCRA News put out another report, and the Find Kiely Rodni Instagram account is putting a lot of updates out. They talked about today, August 9th, there's a Tahoe teen-to-teen meetup from 5 to 7:30 p.m. in Tahoe City at the Save Mart in Tahoe City. all Tahoe kids. So some stuff they're just reaching out and imploring kids to speak. They speak again about we've had a lack of reach out for many Tahoe kids who were at the party or may know any information. They are only looking for info. They say no parents or adults or cops at all. We're only trying to help Kiely. They are doing everything they can think of. This YouTuber named Christian posted the Prosser Reservoir area. It was an interesting little video, and he's saying, he's local obviously. He is saying, look, people are reporting that this is out in the boonies, out nowhere, but he's like, look, there's a neighborhood right there that starts a few hundred yards away. So he's giving you a real view to say this is not maybe as isolated and abandoned area or whatever as you're thinking. It's not in the middle of nowhere. A sketchy service, maybe cell phone service, I don't know. He is saying there's no ravines, at least in that area. If she had driven right into that reservoir, there's no ravines or cliffs or anything in that immediate area. If she had driven into that reservoir right there, they would have found her already. They would have found it right away. He talked about the search helicopters still flying around the whole time. People are watching flight radar and seeing they're flying over there above the trees, different areas. And I wondered, we hadn't seen much about her dad. We've seen Kiely's mom speak out, but we haven't seen her dad speak out. Area that they were saying to stay away from. There is an area, so it's kind of northeast of Prosser Family Campground. It's near the Boca Reservoir, and some people, maybe a local, called that area a little sketchy. So I don't know if they found something there. Maybe we'll know soon. There is an MSN report where it said Sammy was the last person to speak with Kiely. She talked about getting the call from the party, Kiely offering her a ride home and no one hearing from her. But that's when they speak of a close friend of Kiely's. It says Larson also described frustrations among Rodney's family and friends that law enforcement have not yet called for an Amber Alert in the hours and days following her disappearance. Being told there was not enough known about the case to do so. I know in anything there's always someone that can tweak the rule a tiny bit to make something happen. I'm not really sure why that's not happening. With Kiely being 16, and I don't know California laws, but we have the vehicle description, I don't think it could hurt to just send out bolos and Amber Alerts. Many people might not know about this case yet. They could know. It's Anna Larson, actually, whose daughter Meg is Kiely's best friend. So she is the one, Anna Larson, who must have been criticizing law enforcement for not putting out an Amber Alert. She said everybody's coming, the parents, children, people from out of town that are a little familiar with how to organize things and deal with this sort of situation. And that's when her mom had said she called Kiely, she sent text to, and she didn't answer. That's when she knew something was wrong. So I don't know if her mom started calling at 8 a.m. when she woke up. But Sammy said Kiely was having fun at the time at a party, just being a teenager. Everything she drank, I drank out of the same. There was nothing that seemed off about her. So I don't know, Sammy is saying, look, I drank out of the same whatever she was drinking. So if something maybe had been spiked, maybe Sammy is saying I would have, felt the effects too. And again, parents are being urged to look at texts, videos, everything they could find. But then by Sammy saying nothing was off, maybe she means nothing was extraordinarily seemingly wrong. Like maybe Kiely wasn't tripping like crazy in a weird way, but maybe she was just drinking alcohol. That's what I assume. And then I kind of went over this since I found it. It's from August 2018. It's called Backcountry Bikes and Bluegrass at Lost Trail Lodge. It's an article where Lindsay had spoke about how special the Lost Trail Lodge is because it allows people to come together in a secluded, intimate environment. Around the corner from Lost Trail Lodge, I found 60 local folks hanging out underneath a canopy listening to a tie-dyed group of bearded gray-hair guys picking out an old Jerry Garcia tune. So it sounds really, naturey and hippie, but it does give you a little bit of an insight into Lindsay's parent. Upstairs in the kitchen, I find a quiet moment to speak with the lodge's caretakers, Tony and Lindsay Neiman. They didn't mention anything about a Rodney name, so I'm wondering if they are divorced now. Is that the reason we don't hear much from Tony Neiman speaking out for his daughter? But it says they've lived out here for the past 8 years while raising their daughter Kiely. She was 12 then, so this was 4 years ago, and their son Shepard. So he was only 4 then, and so he's just still a little boy. The first season they moved in was during the record winter of 2010-2011. So they earned a living renting the lodge to backcountry skiers, Pacific Crest Trail through hikers, wedding celebrants, and for special events. And Tony called it the Holy Grail, a warm bed, a home-cooked meal, and a hearty fire burning. He said, "There's no phone reception, so most people leave it in the car." Wow, so I don't know if they have phone reception out there or not at that Lost Trail Lodge. So that's it for today. We'll see what happens at the presser. We pray for positive, hopeful news for Kiely. Hosea 2:20. I will betroth you to me in stability and in faithfulness. Then you will know, recognize, appreciate the Lord, and respond with loving faithfulness. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll keep track of Kiely's case, keep praying for everyone, and hopefully here's some good news. Take care.